Hey, Fayetteville First family. Glad to be gathered with you on this day, this first day of April Fool's Day. I have no jokes for you other than the fact that I'm now learning that I know less and less about technology than I thought I did. So the joke's on me. Hopefully the joke's not on you. But in thinking through where we are in our world, where we are in our church calendar, wanted to offer perhaps what I think is one of the best parables of Jesus. That is one of those getcha parables that makes you think and maybe has a lesson of foolishness in it for us as the hearers. It comes in Matthew's Gospel, the 20th chapter, and it comes right before Palm Sunday and Holy Week, which is where we are in our Christian calendar. But it's the story of the laborers in the vineyard. You're familiar with this story, but there's someone who has a vineyard, and he goes out to the marketplace to get people to work early in the morning, about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and he takes them back to his vineyard and they start working. Then he goes back out a couple hours later and gets more people to work in his vineyard. And he goes out around lunchtime to get more people working in the vineyard. He goes out later and gets more people, and then even an hour before the close of the workday, he goes out and gets more people to work. When it comes time at the end of the day to give folks their pay, he gives everyone the same amount of money. A full day's wage for those who worked 2 hours and a full day's wage for those who worked the full day. And of course, the people who worked the full day feel that they have been treated unfairly. They've been working the whole time. They've been laboring in the vineyard. And even though they received a fair day's wage, a fair day's pay, they were incensed that they got as much as the ones who worked just a couple hours. And the master says, "It's mine to give." And I think in that parable, we're all confronted with our own sense of injustice or unworthiness when things don't seem fair or things seem stacked against us. I think we all wrestle with those real feelings at times when we wonder how we're going to move on in this world and how we're going to figure out what happens next for us or our families or our communities or our schools or our churches, all those things that we hold dear. And yet we are reminded that God's grace is equal to all. Through this parable and in this time, as there are those who are sacrificing more than others, whether they're sacrificing time with a loved one, whether they're sacrificing time away from work or family. There are some who are sacrificing little, but all are laborers. We're all in this together. And it is God's love and grace that sustains us and nurtures us, and that gives us an opportunity to receive that grace. And perhaps that's the joke on those of us who've been in church all our lives, who've done all the right things. When we don't know what to say or don't know what to do, when we feel like our back is stuck against the wall, God steps in with the same amount of grace for us and for those who are recently on the scene. So I commend that parable to you in Matthew's Gospel, the 20th chapter, verses 1 through 16. As you contemplate these coming days of uncertainty, we are certain that God's love is with us. We are certain that God's grace is with us, and we are certain that God will give to us our needs, our wants, and enough to sustain us from this day to the next. So be blessed and know that God's grace is sufficient for you and for all in our time of need. Blessings, stay safe, stay smart, and take care of one another.